Billionaire CEO panics without a Chinese translator. Until the black janitor takes over and, when a multi-billion-dollar deal with Chinese investors is about to collapse due to a missing translator, a self-important CEO's panic is cut short when the overlooked janitor, a man he has just humiliated, steps in to save the company, revealing a level of mastery that exposes the deep rot of corporate disrespect. The air on the 80th floor of Sterling Tower in downtown Chicago is thin and cold. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls frame a skyline of endless ambition. But inside the main boardroom, the mood is pure, suffocating panic. This is where deals are born or die. Today, a $100 billion partnership is flatlining. The translator is missing. Richard Sterling, the billionaire CEO whose name is on the building, paces like a caged wolf. His face, usually a mask of tanned, corporate confidence, is pale and tight. His eyes dart between his silent executive team and the equally silent Chinese delegation, whose polite smiles have become thin, unreadable lines. 20 minutes late, Richard hisses into his phone, stabbing at the screen. "Get me anyone, now!" He snaps his fingers, not looking at the man quietly mopping up a coffee spill near the wall. "You, out! We have a crisis here. The last thing we need is the floor buffer running." The man, Samuel Jones, a black man in his late 50s with calm, steady eyes, doesn't react. He simply nods, his movements economical and graceful. He has worked in this building for 7 years, and in all that time, Mr. Sterling has never once used his name. To the CEO, he is just part of the furniture that gets cleaned. Richard, gesturing wildly to make a point to his COO, knocks a heavy glass pitcher of water off the credenza. It shatters, sending water and glass skittering across the polished marble. He doesn't even flinch. He just points a finger at the mess, then at Samuel. "Well, clean it up." The command is layered with disgust, as if the spill itself is Samuel's fault. Samuel retrieves his cart, his posture unchanging. He moves with a quiet dignity that seems to absorb the tension in the room rather than reflect it. On his cart, nestled between cleaning supplies, is a small, worn paperback. It's a book of Tang Dynasty poetry, its cover soft with use. It sits there, a silent testament to a world far removed from this glass box of panic, completely unseen by the man whose empire is about to crumble. His junior assistant, a young woman named Maya, sees the book. She sees the quiet way Samuel kneels to pick up the largest shards of glass. She looks at her boss, then at Samuel, and a knot of shame tightens in her stomach. The sound of Samuel carefully sweeping glass into a dustpan is the only thing that cuts the thick, anxious silence. Richard Sterling's executive team shuffles their feet, avoiding eye contact with each other and with the unimpressed Chinese delegation. They are followers, paid to be loyal, and their silence now is a form of agreement with their boss's casual cruelty. They see a janitor. They see a problem being cleaned up. Nothing more. The lead investor, an older, distinguished man named Mr. Chun, watches the scene not with anger, but with a deep, analytical stillness. He observes the way Richard ignores the man at his feet. He exchanges a quiet, sharp phrase in Mandarin with his associate. It's too fast for anyone in Sterling's team to catch. Samuel, still on his knees, finishes sweeping. He rises in a single fluid motion, his back straight. Instead of leaving as ordered, he pushes his cart to a discreet corner by the door and stands beside it, hands folded. He is no longer cleaning. He is waiting, watching. It is a small act of defiance, so subtle no one but Maya notices. She sees him standing there and feels a strange sense of calm emanating from him, a stark contrast to the frantic energy radiating from her boss. This act subtly foreshadows his strength. He is not just a cleaner. He is an observer, a man who chooses his position. He has assessed the situation and decided to remain. Richard, meanwhile, makes his fatal miscalculation. Frustrated and desperate, he grabs a company tablet and opens a crude, voice-activated translation app. He barks a clumsy, algorithm-butchered apology at the delegation. The app's robotic voice spits out a Mandarin phrase that is not only incorrect but culturally tone-deaf, roughly translating to, "Sorry for the wait, my insignificant guests." A deep frown forms on Mr. Chen's face. His associate's eyes widen in disbelief. Richard, oblivious, thinks he is fixing the problem. He sees Samuel lingering by the door, and his frustration boils over. "I told you to get out," he snarls, his voice echoing in the tense room. "Are you deaf?" Just as Richard's insult hangs in the air, Mr. Chun speaks. His voice isn't loud, but it cuts through everything. He poses a long, complex question in flawless Mandarin, his gaze sweeping across the room of clueless American executives. He is not just asking a question, he is issuing a challenge. The room holds its breath. Sterling's team looks down, helpless. The deal is dead. Then, from the corner of the room, a voice responds. It is calm, clear, and resonant. In perfect, formal Mandarin. "Mr. Chen asks," the voice says, translating with elegant precision, "if a company that cannot manage a simple meeting on time can be trusted to manage a $100 billion global initiative that requires flawless execution and mutual respect." Every head snaps towards the door. It's Samuel. He stands tall, his hands no longer folded. His presence has transformed. He is no longer the janitor. He is the only person in the room who understands everything. Richard Sterling spins around, his face a cartoon of disbelief. What did you just say?" He lets out a short, incredulous laugh. "Did you learn a phrase from a fortune cookie? What is this, some kind of joke?" He looks at his team for support, but they are staring at Samuel, their jaws slack. Maya is the first to truly see the shift. Her eyes dart from Samuel's confident posture to the astounded, slowly dawning respect on the faces of the Chinese delegation. Mr. Chen's head is tilted, a flicker of genuine interest in his eyes for the first time all day. He ignores Richard entirely and addresses Samuel directly, speaking another, even more intricate sentence. Samuel takes a single, deliberate step away from his cleaning cart. He leaves it behind, a silent, symbolic shedding of the role he had been forced to play. The cart, with its mops and chemicals, is his past. His mind, his voice, is the present. He answers Mr. Chun, not just translating, but adding a layer of cultural context that shows he understands not just the words, but the meaning behind them. He explains that the delay was unforeseen and not indicative of the company's deep respect for this potential partnership. He hasn't just spoken the language. He has built a bridge across the chasm of disrespect that Richard Sterling had created. The battle is not one of shouting, but of quiet, profound competence. Samuel continues to speak, his voice a steady, confident rhythm in the silent room. He fields another question from Mr. Chen's associate, this one about logistical supply chains, and translates it for the stunned COO. He then listens to the COO's fumbled, jargon-filled answer and refines it, transforming the clumsy corporate speak into a clear, respectful, and impressive response in Mandarin. He isn't just a translator. He's a diplomat. He is clarifying, simplifying, and single-handedly salvaging the entire negotiation. Richard Sterling stands frozen, a statue of obsolete power. The sneer on his face has melted away, replaced by a ghastly pale shock. His inner world is collapsing. The janitor? The man I just... He glances at his hands. They are trembling slightly. He looks at Mr. Chun, desperate for a sign of acknowledgement, but the investor's eyes are fixed solely on Samuel. For Mr. Chun, Richard Sterling is no longer in the room. The billionaire has become invisible, just as he had made Samuel invisible moments before. A deep, profound silence has fallen over the American side of the table. The executives, who had privately smirked at Samuel's humiliation, are now staring at him with a mixture of awe and dawning horror at their own blindness. They are witnessing the complete and total transfer of power in real time. The janitor's uniform has become irrelevant. The $1,000 suit has become a costume. The symbolic moment, the final, irreversible reversal, comes when Mr. Chen asks a final, critical question about the project's core ethical guidelines. Before Samuel can even translate, Mr. Chen gestures for him to answer it himself. "Waxiang ting nin de kanfa," he says. "I want to hear your perspective." Ignoring the CEO of the company, the lead investor asks the janitor for his opinion on corporate ethics. Samuel pauses, then gives a simple, eloquent answer in Mandarin about how true strength in any venture is built on the dignity afforded to every single person involved. Mr. Chen breaks into a broad, genuine smile. He stands up. Then, in a gesture that seals Richard's fate, he gives Samuel a slight, formal bow. It is a sign of ultimate respect, from one master to another. The power in the room has not just shifted. It has been permanently reassigned. The bow acts as a judgment. The spell of fear surrounding Richard Sterling is broken. His executive team can no longer hide their expressions. They look at their boss, and for the first time, they don't see a powerful leader. They see a small, petty man who almost cost them everything. Their disapproval is silent but absolute. It's in the way they shift their chairs away from him, the way they can no longer meet his panicked eyes. Mr. Chen speaks again, his tone firm and decisive. Samuel listens, then turns his gaze to the entire room, his voice carrying a new, quiet authority. "Mr. Chen says his company is still interested in this partnership," Samuel translates. "But on one new condition." He pauses, letting the weight of the moment settle. All negotiations from this point forward will be led by Mr. Jones. He uses his own name, the name Richard never bothered to learn. Maya, seeing her chance, quickly and quietly pulls a chair from the wall and places it at the head of the table for Samuel. It is an act of service, but also an act of anointing. Samuel gives her a small, grateful nod and sits. Richard is left standing, awkward and exposed. "Now, wait just a minute," Richard sputters, his voice thin and reedy. "I am the CEO of this company." Mr. Chen cuts him off with a sharp wave of his hand, not even gracing him with a look. He speaks only to Samuel. The deal is being remade, right in front of the man who thought he controlled it. An hour later, the key terms are agreed upon. The deal is saved. As the Chinese delegation prepares to leave, Richard Sterling, desperate to salvage a shred of dignity, steps in front of Samuel. "Mr. Jones," he begins, the name feeling foreign and clumsy on his tongue. I want to apologize." Samuel looks up at him, his expression not of anger or triumph, but of a deep, weary sadness. He responds, his voice just loud enough for the whole room to hear. "Sir, respect isn't a currency you spend on people you think are important. It's the air everyone needs to breathe, from the boardroom to the boiler room. You don't get to decide who is worthy of it." 9 months later, the 80th floor of Sterling Tower looks different. The cold, sterile aesthetic is still there, but the energy has changed. We find Samuel Jones, not with a mop, but with a marker in his hand, standing before a whiteboard in a packed conference room. He wears a simple, dark blazer over a button-down shirt, no tie. He looks comfortable and in command. He is not the new CEO. His mission is more profound. He is the first ever head of the Office of Corporate Integrity and Employee Dignity. The department was created as a non-negotiable part of Mr. Chen's final deal. Its mandate is to overhaul company policy, from hiring practices and pay equity to management training, ensuring every employee is seen, heard, and valued. A framed article from a major business journal hangs on the wall. The headline reads, "The Sterling Protocol: How one man's dignity remade a corporate giant. Samuel's story didn't just go viral online. It became a legendary case study within the company, a quiet revolution that started with a single act of translation. He is now known not as the janitor who spoke Chinese, but as the architect of a more humane workplace. Maya sits in the front row of the workshop he is leading. She is now his chief of staff, his most trusted partner in this new initiative. Their work is implementing systemic change, running audits on management behavior, and creating channels for overlooked employees to be recognized for their hidden skills. She catches his eye during the presentation, and he gives her the same small, warm nod he gave her when she offered him the chair. It's a shared look of validation, a confirmation that they are building something real, something that will last. Their work isn't about one man's victory. It's about ensuring no one else ever has to endure that kind of humiliation again. Richard Sterling still occupies the CEO's office, but it feels more like a luxurious prison than a seat of power. It is late. The city lights of Chicago glitter below, but they offer no comfort. The board, under pressure from their new partners, had allowed him to keep his title, but his authority is gone. He is a figurehead, a ghost in his own machine. On his vast, empty mahogany desk, next to his billion-dollar deal binders, sits a small, worn paperback. It is the book of Tang Dynasty poetry that used to sit on Samuel's cart. Richard had the security chief find it for him. He can't read a word of it, but he picks it up sometimes, feeling the soft, frayed edges of the paper. He stares out the window at the distant, impersonal lights of the city. He doesn't speak aloud, but a single, devastating thought echoes in the lonely silence of his mind. He was right there, for 7 years. The camera pulls back, contrasting the image of the isolated billionaire in his sterile glass cage with the memory of Samuel's workshop. A room buzzing with energy, connection, and shared purpose. Richard Sterling won the deal, but he lost the meaning of his own company. A person's true worth is not measured by their job title or the uniform they wear. It is measured by their character, their knowledge, and the quiet dignity they carry, often hidden in plain sight.